Anatomy in Flowering Plants chapter, just let me know how many of you have done the homework. From the last class, I have given you homework as of flowering plants, right? So today's chapter is Anatomy of Flowering Plants. There will be 4 lectures in which we will cover this chapter, right? Also, guys, for today's lecture, I will be having CTs today. So students, please welcome Aisha Aslam ma'am. Ma'am will help you in case of your doubts and queries. Hello. Any tissue you know, as per your knowledge, till date, any of the name of a tissue. Okay, parenchyma, xylem. Okay, good. Kushi, yeah, Harun. What about others? Sclerenchyma, very good. Srijita. Dia said sclerenchyma, very good. Floyam Harun said very good. Meristematic Harun said yes. Akash. There are two Akash, na? Akash Mohanta, Akash Das. Yeah, two. So apical, that can also be there. So Akash Das, correct. Parenchyma, xylem. I know some basic idea you already have. Kudos to you all. I will now going to talk about some things in more detail, a proper way. Okay? But it's not just like, say, for example, I take 1 cell, 2 cell, 3 cell, 4 cell in a petri dish, and that will be called as a tissue. No. What is called as a tissue is when the cells have common origin and common function. Just keeping the cells together does not make it a tissue. They must have a common origin and common function. That is called as a tissue. So let us see what types of tissues are there. Both Akasha brother. Oh, all right. But one is Akash Mohanta and one is Akash Das. So your brothers, cousins. Chalo. Let us talk about the tissues type. The idea of tissue is very much clear to me. There was a scientist who was called as. There are two important scientists. Okay, Norman Grew and N. Grew. Okay, his name was Norman Grew, and another name is Carl Nageli. These two scientists did a lot of study in terms of tissues. So they are one of the major scientists for plant anatomy. So I would call them as plant anatomist. I would call them as plant anatomist. I know Akash. ठीक है? Norman Grew and Carl Nageli. They were plant anatomists, and most of the things of this chapter were discovered and put forward by these two scientists only. So if you like the chapter, thank these two people. Okay? If you want, if you like this chapter, at the last, thank these two people. All right. Let us come to talk about the types of tissues. There are two kinds of tissues mentioned by them. So what is the case? First is meristematic and second is permanent. Oh, is it Srijita? All right. So meristematic and permanent. When I talk, Akash, Akash, if you could not be putting these all things details, somebody else could have done it. So let us face the challenger. Why do we want to not study the things? Let us come forward and understand the things, right? Yes. Tiasha, the internal structure is called as anatomy, and the person who studies anatomy is called as anatomist. Right. So there are two kinds of tissues, whether they divide or they not. If they divide, they will be called as meristematic. If they don't divide, they will be called as permanent. So on what basis they are categorized? What is the basis of telling these two types of tissues? Just like that? No. Anybody tell me the basis? This is an NCERT line. Division. Yes, Shrachita. Yes, Diya. Whether they divide or not. So on the basis of division, write that down in your copy. On the basis of division, this is NCERT line. There are two types of tissues. The one who divides, meristematic. The one who does not divide will be permanent. Come, let us go in detail of the first type, meristematic. I hope you are going through the cell cycle cell division chapter. And there, G1S, G2M phases you might have studied. How many of you remember that? Yes? G1S, G2M. Yes. So if the cell is going through the cell cycle, जब cycle चलती जा रही है, cycle चलती जा रही है, cycle is going and going and going and going. It is a dividing cell. Is that right? Shrijita, you will, yes, we will understand about that very soon. So keep that question safe for some time. Answer will come ahead. Okay? If you don't understand, I will give you the answer after some time. Okay? Yeah, so if the cells keep on dividing like G1, S, G2, M, G1, S, G2, M, G1, S, G2, M, so on, keep on dividing. ठीक है? So if the cells keep on dividing, they will increase the number of cells. 1 become 2, 2 become 4, 4 become 8, 16, 32, 64, and many more further. So guys, this is how the meristematic cells are categorized. If they divide, they are meristematic. How do they divide? G1S, G2M phase. They keep on going. Now, when I talk about the places where the meristematic tissues are there, they're called as meristems. The places where meristematic tissues are present, the regions that has active cell division, those regions are called as meristems. So meristem is nothing but a region, a zone, but meristematic is a tissue. Okay? The place where these tissues are present called as meristems. Great. Any confusion problem? Can I talk about the types of them? Great. Okay, Ojaswa, no doubts. Okay, Shrujita. Let us say that suppose there are meristematic tissues. I know that they are dividing. 1 become 2, 2 become 4, and so on. But they are of two types, primary and secondary. Primary of two types, apical and intercalary. Secondary has different types. One of them is lateral meristem. Yes, Yash, that is absolutely correct. That meristematic tissues are present as meristems. That is right, Yash. So, in this way, you understood that these are the types, primary, secondary. Primary has two types, apical, intercalary. Secondary has many types. One of them is lateral meristem. Guys, let us have a look onto their more details, each one of them in proper way. I think you might have studied about them in your ninth class somewhat, a little. Apical meristem or something. Ah, yes. Just see this diagram once and you will get an idea of the primary meristem. Okay? I'm observing that this apical meristem is at the tip and I'm seeing that the intercalary is somewhere in between. So apical meristem and intercalary meristem. One very important thing that they both are type of primary. Acha, what is primary? Who knows what is the meaning of primary? Primary class. My primary motto is to tell you that primary, main, first, basic. These terms come to your mind. Okay, Agash, I hope you have tried enough. All right. So a preliminary stage, yes, Jishnu. Initial wala. So any meristem which comes first is called as primary meristem. Okay. It forms the first plant body. What is first plant body? Acha. Suppose you are studying 11th grade for the first time. You are doing this primary. But what happens? Certain people repeat 11th. So they are studying 11th for the second time. So that will not be primary. No, that will not be primary. That will be secondary. But if you do it for the first time, if you make it for the first time, the little small plant to be made right now, primary plant body. So primary plant body is made by primary meristem. Yeah, the divided cells before these cells are assigned separate functions. Yes, Dia. Yes, Diyasha. Okay, so the point is the primary meristem are of two types. See, first of all, they make the primary plant body and they appear early in the life. If a plant is just now, suppose I take a seed and I put it into soil, and there will be formation of a new plant. See, today itself, even on World Environment Day, when was World Environment Day? When was World Environment Day? When was World Environment Day, guys? 5th of June. On 5th of June, I have put some seeds. How many of you have planted plants or seeds or a small plantation? Anybody did it? Very good, Sanskriti. Good, Jishnu. Hello. Very good, very good, very good. Nice initiative. Balcony is filled, Yash is saying. Mom did it. Very good. Rishika, okay. But see that, students. The world needs the plants, a lot of plants. You will never know, you will grow old, and at that time, there will be more oxygen required. So try to make more plants as much as possible. If you have not done it on the World Environment Day, no problem, you can do it now, because the monsoons are going to come at certain places. Monsoon is already there, and it will be a very good season for the plants to grow. So whatever seeds, like mango seeds, yes, Harun, hashtag avoid deforestation and do afforestation. Yes, Harun. We cannot stop deforestation because that's not under our control, but we can make more plants by afforestation that we can do. So I'm telling you, I'm taking a seed. So what I have done on the, I have taken the jamun apical meristem, root and shoot apical meristem. Let us talk about the types of the apical meristem. You know what is the meaning of apical? What is the meaning of the word apical? Tip. Absolutely correct. Yes, Dia. Yeah, correct. Yeah. People are right. Apex, tip. So there can be two tips, no? The shoot tip, the root tip. So the thing is, this is a shoot apical meristem, and this is a root apical. So root apical meristem will be many. Yes. Even shoot apical meristem will also be many. Depends onto the branches. For example, there is a plant. For example, there is a plant with two branches. How many shoot apical meristems? This is one branch and this is another branch. This is the main stem. How many apical meristems? Shoot apical. Shoot apical. 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 tips of the stem. Very nice. I am super happy that you applied logic and answered it. Very well done. Very well done, guys. So the point to be understood here, wherever the tips are, at that place is apical meristem. If that is a shoot, that is called a shoot apical meristem. That is a root, it is called as a root apical meristem. Right? Energy. Good. Let us come ahead and talk about more details of it. Now, when I say that the root apical meristem is there, it will occupy the tip. The shoot apical meristem will occupy the distant most region of the stem. I mean, very the farthest one. So I'm going to detail everything one by one. First, I would like to take about shoot apical meristem, the tip of the stem. So here is the shoot apical meristem in detail. The whole thing. Please note that the whole thing is shoot apical meristem. Shoot apical meristem.